night, the Athletics' debut of Aaron Brooks could not have gone better for the 25-year-old, who was acquired in a trade with the Royals earlier this week. Brooks went 7+ innings, striking out 5 as he and the A's cruised past the Indians. Today in the series finale, Sonny Gray gets the ball. He's coming off a stellar performance in Los Angeles as he 3-hit the Dodgers at Chavez Ravine. It's the final game of the 4-game set. Gray and the A's take on the Indians next. It's a beautiful day for baseball at the O.Co Coliseum, home of the Athletics, and they will send their all-star to the mound, Sonny Gray. Sonny looking for another strong performance. He's coming off a terrific performance. It's the final game of the series. It's the Indians and the Athletics coming up on Comcast Sportsnet California. Hi again, everybody. Welcome to Oakland A's Baseball. Along with Ray Fosse, I'm Glenn Kuiper. Sonny Gray to the mound, and his last start at Dodger Stadium, really one of his best. Another shutout for Gray, and he'll try to build off that today.
Just like his shutout, the 2-hit shutout against the Indians before the All-Star break, he backed it up against the Dodgers. And that slider that we have seen work so effectively, it worked against the Dodgers, especially Jock Peterson. He struck out 3 times. He was firing everything after striking out. But Sonny Gray has a slider. He told us in Cleveland after the game, maybe throw a little bit too much, but against the Dodgers, he was great. 3-hit shutout, great one to build on.
All right, the Indians will send Trevor Bauer to the mound. He's looking for his 9th win. And Ray, another one of these young pitchers who strikes out a lot of guys.
Got a great curveball right over the top, and you know he's a very good pitcher. And I think the biggest thing about him, he fits perfectly in this rotation. We've already seen Carrasco and Salazar, 2 very good young pitchers. Even Anderson last night was outstanding. So Trevor Bauer, while he might be a little bit different in his style and the way he warms up, he's a very good pitcher, and he does fit perfectly for Terry Francona.
And if the A's can win this ball game today, they will win the season series over the Indians. And the giveaway today is the Mike Gallego action figure. We like it. Gags likes it. Let's hope it gets the A's a win. We'll have lineups at first pitch when we come back. It's the A's and the Indians.
For a limited time, try the new Portobello Mushroom Buttery Jack with melted garlic herb butter. And by Toyota, the full-line automaker with the longest-lasting vehicles in America. Toyota, let's go places.
Sunday means little leaguers to the field with the big leaguers. One of our favorite moments of the Sunday day games here at the Coliseum. It is the final game of this 4-game series between the A's and the Indians. Game time weather presented by the Santa Cruz Beach Boardwalk. Get to the beach. The admission-free boardwalk is now open daily. 70 degrees at first pitch as Sonny Gray trots to the mound. The Indians won the first 2 games of the series. A's won last night, so they'll try to get a even series. But a win today, they would win the season series over the Tribe. Here's the lineup for the Indians today. Lonnie Chisenhall is going to lead off, and then he's followed by Lindor, Brantley, Santana, Sands, Urshela, Perez, Bourne, and Aviles.
Well documented, Sonny Gray, one of the best, not only for the Athletics, but also in the American League, maybe all of baseball, as he continues to pitch very well with a .216 earned run average. His strikeout to walk ratio, excellent, great slider, and he has won 11 games, trying to make it 12 today. 2-hit shutout against the Indians in his last start. That was in Cleveland right before the All-Star break. So Sonny, if he can have a second half like he had the first half, we're going to be talking Cy Young Award, at least in the voting.
Defensively, he's look like this. Full Burns and Reddick in the outfield. Laurie, Simeon, Sogard, Davis on the infield, and Fegley is your catcher.
I think as we talked to Captain our Open about Sonny Gray and the interview we did with him following his 2-hit shutout against the Indians, and asked about the slider, and I thought it was interesting. He said maybe you're using it too much, but against the Dodgers it was a very effective pitch, getting strikeouts. So we'll see today. The Indians have been seeing him just a couple of weeks ago, how much they may be thinking about the slider. Will he throw more fastballs? We'll see, but he is very, very good in his slider, which acts like a splitter, and is a great strikeout pick. So the pant legs up high with the stirrup socks with the stripes, like Eric Sogard, and look around, there's a few guys with the pant legs up high. So let's see how he does today.
So Chisenhall in the leadoff spot today. Kipnis getting the day off for the Indians. So Sonny Gray is set, and the first pitch of the ball game is up and away. Umpires today. It's Bill Cuzzy calling balls and strikes. Jerry Davis is your crew chief. He's down at first. Chisenhall 218 with 5 homers, 20 RBIs.
Got help there. Might have been ball 2, and for a leadoff hitter, be a little bit patient. Chisenhall a big home run last night on a 3-2 fastball, threw out a base runner at home.
Lindor to follow, and then Brantley. Chisenhall's had a good series. He's 4 for 11. He's got a homer. He's got a double. Scored a couple of runs. So he's been in the lineup all 4 games in the series. And now 3-1.
Well, he had a 3-2 fastball last night from Aaron Brooks that would tie the game, but and also the changeup, but he'd been hitting that well also. So right now 3-1, probably sitting fastball, but Sonny Gray, nothing else. Challenge him and just see what he can do with a fastball. 3-1.
And it's low, and it's a leadoff walk.
Pretty special in Cleveland on the Sunday final game before the All-Star break. He had everything working. Pitch count was down low. A's needed a win to win that weekend series as they took 2 out of 3, but the 2-hit shutout. Stephen Vogt, his catcher, said right there, oh, let's go have some fun. I thought that was a great comment, or Geico quote, maybe.
Yep.
Let's go have some fun in Cincinnati.
So Chisenhall aboard. Here's Francisco Lindor. Shows bunt. First pitch is a strike. Lindor 265. It's 4 for 11 in the series. Indians brought him up in the middle of June, and he's their top prospect, and they're going to let him roll with it the rest of the year. Very good defensively. He looks like he's probably here to stay. He was the Indians' #1 draft pick back in 2011. Switch hitter. Laurie inches in on the grass at third, and it's a strike, so the count 1-2.
Again, maybe one of the better pitches, the curveball, the first one, and all the fastballs. Maybe trouble trying to throw strikes, but that's a perfectly thrown curveball, and maybe that's just enough to get him going with his fastball.
So Expo brought to you by Cache Creek Casino Resort. Swing and a miss. He swung over top. So out #1 here in the first.
Well, they're getting the over curveball for a strike, and then there's a nasty, probably the slider again, the one that goes down that much and thrown harder. Fegley keeping it, and you can see the rotation. It really comes out of his hand, and with the rotation, it's like a split finger fastball. See, that ball was in the dirt, similar to last night. Remember when they strike him out and said he caught it? He didn't, and that's what Baumel was told, that home plate umpire thought it had been caught. You can't see that if you're an umpire. You can't see over the catcher to see if it's in the dirt or not. That's why the corner umpire should be involved.
Good pitch there. Strike 1 to Michael Brantley. 299, 8 homers, 56 RBIs for Brantley. He is 3 for 12 in the series, couple singles and a double. Short lead for Chisenhall at first. Indians are 48-55 and 28-23 on the road coming into today. They will continue their road trip as they will be in Anaheim to play the Angels Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. So West Coast trip for Terry Francona's squad.
Fastball is just not working for Sonny Gray yet in this game. Usually you have a little difficulty with a breaking pitch, and the catcher might continue to call it until it starts to work effectively. But maybe the case for Josh Fegley with the fastball, throw it and keep throwing it enough, because it has to be a dominant pitch for Sonny for the rest of the pitches to work.
And now 3-1. And there have been starts where we've seen Sonny Gray actually have better control with his breaking ball than with his fastball, which is hard to imagine, but he can do that.
And today might be one of those days, at least in the early part of the game.
Carlos Santana is the on-deck hitter. Chisenhall runs, and the pitch is high, and it's ball 4. So throw down, but it was a ball, so 2 on, 1 out.
And I hate to say it, but that pitch wasn't really that close to be considered a strike.
Batting in the fourth position.
And maybe the check swing by the hitter, but boy, nice play by Marcus Semien there. Sogar was backing up. Billy Burns was hustling in from center field, but the worst thing you do on a ball 4 is throw a ball in center field and allow the runner to take 2 bases.
So here's the cleanup hitter, Santana. Santana is DHing today after playing first base the first 3 games of the series. He's 2 for 11. He's got a home run in the series. Overall, 12 homers, 46 RBIs. First pitch fouled straight back. So he liked what he saw on the first pitch and took a rip at it.
Well, you mentioned last night with Santana, a patient hitter, will take some walks. He's 0 for 8. But I think he's also the type of hitter that, knowing the pitcher's struggling, if he's going to throw a fastball down the middle, he's not going to be taking.
Blocked nicely by Fegley. So 2 walks and a strikeout in this ball game so far.
There's the hard breaking ball, and Fegley, good job. And well, again, that's textbook. Look at the catcher's mitt down on the ground between the legs, and you want to cup your upper body, the shoulders, and that keeps the ball close. If you flatten and go straight up, the ball is going to carry them off your body far enough, probably for the runners to advance.
Down and in, and it's 2-1.
And the breaking ball he would not chase, and Santana showing the patience.
So 2-1. Jerry Sands is the on deck hitter. Lifted to shallow center. Burns coming in. It's going to fall. And the runners will move up. Just one bag, and the bases are loaded. Burns tried to deke the runners, and he may have just a little bit. But it falls for a single, and the Indians have them loaded.
Yeah, off the bat, it seemed like it's going to be a line drive right to the center field. But there, a great shot. You could see it slowed down. The ball got on the trademark, which is a jam. And that's why the ball did not make it into the outfield far enough. Chisenhall, though, with just one out, not knowing the speed of Billy Burns, and did not want to be overly aggressive and have a chance of being doubled off. So Sonny Gray, strikeout pitcher. This is the time to get it. A's will play for 2, but strikeout just as big.
In our first look at Jerry Sands, big right-handed hitter. And he takes a fastball that was close, called the ball. Sands just called up from the minor leagues. It's his second stint with the Indians this year. And now it's 2-0. Your runners: Chisenhall, Brantley, and Santana. Kurt Young does not like what he sees. Sonny a little off here in the first inning. He's thrown 20 pitches. And the ratio is not good. And Sonny is not a guy who generally walks a lot of people. But 2 here in the first inning.
Except the one game against the Rangers, May the 3rd, when he walked 7.
Yep.
Not one of the 7 scored. As the A's, and he just gave up, actually did not give up a run in the game. Struck out 10, walked 7.
There's your breakdown.
One with a 63% is not working. Fastball. And he pretty much has to throw one now. Maybe gets a movement, get a ground ball, but you have to also think that Sands, the hitter, is going to be a little bit patient, make him throw a strike.
The 2-0 pitch is right on the outside corner, so he painted the corner. How about that?
Just in case Sands decided to swing, he threw him a very good pitch. Corner, knee high, really unhittable.
That one's hit high in the air. Burns backing up. Now he settles underneath it. Chisenhall tags. Chisenhall will come in to score. Brantley tags, goes from second to third. It's a sacrifice fly for Jerry Sands, and the Indians lead 1-0.
Pretty patient hitter. Seeing Sonny Gray for the first time, and he did see 4 fastballs, and after the paint on 2-0, got a pretty good pitch to hit, and deep enough. Unfortunately, from the A standpoint, kept it in the park.
So 2 away, and if Sonny Gray could keep the damage to just 1 run, he'd be okay with that, as he faces Giovanni Urshela first and third. Urshela with a big swing and miss. Young third baseman. 1 for 10 in this series.
It looked like a delayed swing. A pitch that's pretty good pitch to hit, yet Almost like he wanted to but didn't want to swing, and kind of a half swing.
Inside with a fastball, 93 miles an hour. Fouled off the catcher. So now the count 1-2. With Urshela being 23 years old, Lindor, the shortstop, 21 years old, the Indians hope that those are their two guys for a while, and it certainly could be. 1-2. Nice block by Fegley. It trickles away. It's going to allow the back runner to move up. That's Santana. Brantley stays at third, so it'll be a wild pitch. It just trickled behind Fegley, and Santana got a pretty good read on it.
Santana, a catcher, sometimes realizes that ball's in the dirt first and third. And we've said it over and over again that he knows the only play for Fegley is going to be blocking the ball to keep the runner from scoring, so he can go to second easily. Does take a force out away from the Athletics. Good block though by Fegley to keep the runner at third.
Swing and a miss. He struck him out, so Sonny Gray gets out of it. The Indians do score one. So 1-0 Tribe after half an inning. Speed at the top, Burns and Fulton, and Reddick, Butler, Davis, Laurie, Fegley, Sogard, and Simeon.
Trevor Bauer facing the Athletics for the first time, making his 21st start, and as we showed in our open, how about the strikeouts? 122 and 124 in the third innings for this right-hander. Fastball mid-90s. He'll also throw an assortment of pitches, including a split-finger fastball. So while he's faced the A's for the first time, Billy Butler and Sam Fuld have faced him, and that's it.
And a little bit of an unorthodox delivery. First pitch is low. So Burns, Fuld, Reddick, the top three. This one popped up. Urshela over, and it's just into the seats.
Kind of a dart throw a little bit with the leg kick, straightens it out and brings it up, and then right over the top. And what, they've always spoken highly of Trevor Bauer and his ability to pitch.
First base, Sands charges to get a good hop, steps in the bag, 1 out. Defensively, behind Trevor Bauer, Brantley, Bourne, and Chisenhall in the outfield. Urshela, Lindor, Aviles, and Sands on the infield. And Roberto Perez is doing the catching today. So Yan Gomes, 3 straight starts. He'll get the afternoon off.
Dick Callahan, a great introduction of the A's coaches, Ty Waller, and then said, in the flesh on the giveaway day for Mike Gallego.
He's here.
He's here, and third base coaching. So hopefully he can demonstrate exactly what the fans have received today and get the arm moving. I asked him, I said, have you, or when was the last time you had back-to-back hits trying to score a runner? And he looked at me and goes, I don't know that I ever have.
That's right.
It's been a while. There it is. Come on, let's go. Send him home.
Scooped up by Aviles. 2 away. Gags taking care of the fans before the game. Signing the action figure is what we're calling it.
Well, they should start it so he can sign it while that arm's moving. That would be the best thing to do.
I would imagine those bobbleheads or action figures, not easy to sign. You had your bobblehead a couple years ago.
Yeah. And they still keep popping up.
Sure. Oh yeah, I got mine right next to my TV, so every time I watch the TV, I can see my broadcast partner Ray Fosse.
Let's see if we can get you something else to just
He's giving me the signs. That's pretty good.
See, Gag's smart. He carries his own pen. He's ready to go.
2-1 to Reddick.
See, I want to see Gags have a play where he can send a runner and he takes the bobblehead out, pushes the button, and the arm starts rotating. That way, the runner can look at both of them. See 2 arms waving.
3-1 to Reddick. That one has not been taken out of the plastic just yet. Trying to keep it pristine. Because once it comes out of that plastic, as I have found out in my household, anything can happen. All bets are off when that plastic comes apart and the bobblehead is home free. There's a shot, right field. Chisenhall charges in to make the catch. And that's a 3-up, 3-down inning for Trevor Bauer. Second inning coming up. Indians 1, A's nothing.
Melvin down there with yours truly to make the presentation, and it's a great honor for Stephen Vogt to receive that. Johnny Gomes has received it, but the bottom line voted on by the players, and then of course every team has a recipient, and then the top honoree will be awarded it in November. So Stephen Vogt, congratulations to him, the heart and hustle, and that's says a lot about what Stephen Vogt means to this ball club and community, everything about the A's catcher. And he gets a well-deserved day off.
Yes, he does. Trying to give that bruised and banged up body a break. Roberto Perez, the catcher today for the Indians, leading it off. Bottom three in the order: Perez, Bourne, and Aviles. Laurie, tough play, and Laurie did everything he could do. It was a do or die play, and I don't know if he would have got him even if he picked it up clean.
And it's too much on the grass for it to roll foul. When he did miss it, didn't put a glove or hand on it, but when it spun, it stayed on the grass, which was going to be a base hit. The only other hope was once he missed it, well, he did get his fingers on it, so it's a live baseball. But you're right, and sometimes the best thing is to not make a play, because I don't know that anything good could have come out of it.
So second hit, and here's Michael Bourne. Laurie in on the grass, and Bourne takes outside. You know, you could see that ball too. Right at the last minute, it kind of moved a little bit, and Laurie had to reach for it. Had a little spin on it.
It's also a pretty good pitch for a hitter to beat the ball on the ground the way Perez did. So at least Sonny Gray's pitches are working, but checked up.
See how it kicked away from him.
Yeah. It looked like he might have tried to get it before it did take the hop. And I don't think that's a smear. I think that's simply just under the eyes and then down the cheek. Warrior.
Simeon has it right near the bag, throws to first, and that's a double play. Well, Perez is taking off the bases on the 6-3 double play.
This one wasn't hit that hard either. A funny hop for Marcus Simeon, caught it in the heel, but a quick throw to first base, getting the speedy Bourne, and he had to make it a quick throw, and a little bit high, but nice stretch by Ike Davis, and Bourne jumping at the bag. Simeon throwing hard quickly, and there's the jump, airborne, out. Just a natural reaction by a runner to run down the baseline and jump at the bag, think they're going to get there quicker.
And here's Mike Aviles. 221, 4 homers, 9 RBIs for Aviles. He's 0 for 7 in this series and 0 for his last 24. Swinging and a miss. Fastball with good sinking life at 93 miles an hour. Driven to right, but Reddick's there. Side retired. Double play helps Sonny Gray. Bottom of the second coming up. It's the Indians 1 and the A's nothing.
Terrace, which includes a pregame barbecue meal and a game ticket in a private seating area. For more information, call 510-638-GO-AZ, or you can visit athletics.com/BBQ. What a day to be barbecuing out Barbecue Terrace. Remember sauces, and you might not want to leave when the game's over.
Bottom of the second, Butler, Davis, and Laurie against Trevor Bauer. Bauer had a 3-up, 3-down first inning. Butler 245 with 9 home runs. He's 2 for 10 in this series. Knocked in a run last night late.
Did it for his teammate in Kansas City. He and Aaron Brooks worked together. He said spring training and a little bit during the season, but at least Aaron Brooks had a familiar face when he entered the clubhouse. Of course, in today's world, because there's so many player movements, player shows up after being traded, he may know everybody in the clubhouse on a friendly basis. It's not as different as it once was.
So 2-2 now to Butler. Ball hit hard into left field for a hit. The leadoff single. And the story last night was Aaron Brooks pitched into the 8th inning in his A's debut.
Chris Bassett want to know how he got the run support, and I think maybe 2 previous pitchers who the A's only received 3 hits total against the Tribe, but pitched well. It seemed like every inning he pitched, he got better and better. Spotted his fastball and
Number 13.
Yeah, that was good. Aaron Brooks, his first major league win, and pitching the 8th inning, your first start, that kind of probably warrants another start. It's very encouraging Billy Butler to get a bigger lead off first base.
So Ike Davis hitting .240, 3 home runs.
You think back to last night, Aaron Brooks might have been auditioning for a spot in the rotation. And you know, you make a start and it's your first, and you don't know with Felix DeBrant joining the club. You just wonder, is it going to be one, done, see what happens. But he pitched great last night, and it'd be hard to take him out of the rotation right now.
Missed again, 2-0. With Davis ahead in the count. Pitch there from Bauer on the outside corner.
Paint right on the corner, like the Sonny Gray pitch to Sands on the corner, 2-0. Just with the bases loaded though.
High fastball, foul back.
There he goes.
James going to get that one. Handshake.
We know he watches our games, or somebody does, because he was so apologetic after last night's game about his stint in San Francisco. But it's nice to see him in the green and gold, catching foul balls, retrieving them.
And he had a pretty good reason.
Yeah, very good reason.
He accepted his reasoning.
Yeah,
he's a nice young man.
Josh Donaldson said thank you. Donaldson drilled today in Toronto. Altercation on the field.
3-2 pitch, here it is, and it's hit in the air to left. Brantley's backing up near the warning track, and he makes the catch. So that's out number 1 here in the bottom of the second inning, and that'll bring up Laurie.
We have talked often about how when you have a hitter, whether it's late in the game, in this case a 3-2 count, it's much harder to have a hitter hit a ball out to the opposite field than it is to pull the ball. And Bauer, a pretty good pitch. Perez, you're talking about it, but pitched the outside part of the plate. And while Ike Davis hit it well, it went to the warning track in left field. If he had pulled it, it'd been a 2-run home run. but it's close enough. The hitter has to swing, but it's so hard to go opposite field in today's world. Unless you're Mark Teixeira, who did it last night.
First pitch to Laurie is in for a strike. 275 the average for Laurie, with 9 home runs and 42 runs batted in. And a night off last night. He's 0 for 6 in the series. The A's, the first 2 games of this series, had a total of 2 runs and 3 hits total, but much better last night. 5 runs and 8 hits in their win. Got a little bit of everything, does Trevor Bauer.
But if you're a hitter, you're happy that if you read 2% of the splitter, because that's a pitch that hitters do not like. They have to worry about, especially with 2 strikes. He's got it.
So 0-2 to Laurie. Infield in a little bit for the double play. And the curveball blocked nicely by Perez. Outfield shifted toward right center.
Blocked by Perez again. The hard curveball, and Perez, like Fegley today, doing a good job.
Swing and a miss. He struck him out with a fastball. A little up, a little away, and that's the first strikeout for Trevor Bauer.
Curveball on the dirt, nice block, and an elevated fastball. So the eyesight changed nicely, and Laurie, who was going to go in last night defensively, so the A's picking up the extra run. And Bob Melvin able to give him the full night off last night, which was a good idea. I don't know that he liked that.
Probably not.
Laurie wants to be in there every day.
In the dirt. Josh Fegley hitting .271. He's got 6 home runs, 23 RBIs. Doesn't get a lot of starts against a right-handed pitcher, but he's in there today. This is his first action in this series.
And I think we were looking at that with the Indians, really all right-handed starting rotation. Kluber, who is not pitching in this series, also right-handed, so I figured it's going to be one. Happens to be the day game after night game, which for a catcher like Stephen Vogt, who's beaten up anyway, today is a perfect day to take off. He's there just in case, ready to go. He'll go out and warm up the pitcher with Fegley. Unless Fegley hits a home run, then he can take his time putting on the catcher.
He will not have an off day this week. Next off day will be a week from Monday. That'll be a travel day to Toronto. 2-2 the count to Fegley. Just a little bit high.
Perez goes to anything but the fastball. Wants him to shake. He's going to go fastball, and just shook off. He's got to throw a slider. After he swung and missed the 2-1.
Reach for, foul to the screen with Butler on the move. 3-2, 2 outs.
There's something else. A catcher, in the case of Fegley, watching his pitcher shake and just trying to determine what would you do in a 3-2. What would you call? And if your pitcher shook to another pitch, what would it be? And actually, he protected quite nicely with a slider. So Perez wanted to call a fastball first time. Does it again. This time he'll get the fastball.
Runner goes. Strike 3 called. Fegley has a quick chat with Phil Cuzzy. So a couple of strikeouts for Trevor Bauer, and the A's get the leadoff single, but can do nothing with it.
Man in True HD on over 400 mobile and connected devices. Real-time highlights, live look-ins, pitch tracking widget, and more every night on every device. Blackout and other restrictions do apply. Visit MLB.tv for details.
1-0 Indians lead. It's the third inning. Indians will have the top of their order: Chisenhall, Lindor, and Brantley. First pitch is a strike on the outside corner. Astros are leading the Diamondbacks 4-1 in the 7th inning. Astros with a 3-game lead over the Angels in the AL West. Angels and the Dodgers playing right now. No score in the 2nd inning. Dodgers going for the sweep of the Angels. Angels have lost 5 in a row. Musinski and Latos, the matchup there.
The Angels might be hoping the Astros do what the Angels did last year when they just took off the last couple of months and ran away with it. Passed the A's so quickly and ended up winning the division by 10+.
Mariners and the Twins tied 1-1 in the 11th inning. Rolled foul. Rangers leading the Giants 2-0 in the 7th. Scores from the AL West. A little bit of interleague baseball going on. 2-2 pitch, broken bat, but it's going to be a base hit. So Chisenhall continues his big series. Today he has walked and singled. Current standings in the AL West, that's what it looks like. Angels 3 back, Rangers 3 under 500. They're 8 back, but the Rangers in the wild card are 4 games behind the second wild card team, the Twins, so they are still in the mix. Rangers playing a little bit better as of late, and they got Cole Hamels. Now this is Lindor, who showed bunt, takes a ball. A's will see the Baltimore Orioles tomorrow night for a 3-game series. Orioles lost today, but still they've been playing extremely well. Even with that loss, they've still won 7 out of their last 9. So we'll check out the Orioles. Bunted, Laurie has it. He's got to play at second, throws to second, out there, but Lindor is safe at first. So Laurie charged in, and you could tell that he read the fact that the bunt was pretty hard, and he knew he was going to have a play at second, and he did not rush.
And look how he charged immediately when he saw Lindor square around. A very good throw. And Semien actually tried to double him up, but Lindor does run too well. That's when you tip what you're doing so quickly. It allows the third base, in this case Laurie, to come in and charge and get the lead runner. And that was a true sacrifice, but really he told the world he was doing it, and that's why Laurie made the very good play.
So 1 out. Lindor now the runner at first, and here's Michael Brantley. Brantley takes the curveball low.
Notice it was Marcus Semien making the play.
Right.
So that was a 5-6 put out, which is very rare, but with Sogard on the bunt attempt going over to cover first, that vacated second, so Semien did a good job getting there.
Missed again. 2-0 to Brantley, who walked in the first inning. Santana will be next. What was the Sonny Gray pitch count in the first inning, right?
A lot. 27.
27.
And 8 in the second. So yes, recovered nicely.
Close play, and Lindor is back. You can see on a play like that where it helps if your first baseman throws left-handed, catches right-handed, and pretty simple. The glove hand that you tag with is closer to the runner.
And Graveman got him early in the series, and that was a challenge, and it did not take long for the A's to challenge it and overturn it.
So wouldn't you agree? It also helps the first baseman when he's playing his normal position. There's more balls hit to his right than there are to his left. To his left being down the line.
That's why they always jump out. They hold the runner and then take a huge step out and try to cut off some of the space. Second baseman Sogard playing close to second for a possible double play.
The pitch is foul. Foul ball alley right down the walkway again. Lindor has a couple of steals. There's the walkway that it went down. Can't find it.
See, people don't even go for them anymore. They just let Cenk.
They let him.
Yeah, and then they wait around for him to be a nice guy.
That's right. Just make nice with him and he'll give you a foul. Davis grabs it, but it's a foul ball, so the count remains 2-2. 47 pitches for Sonny Gray. So he's had to work here in the first 3 innings.
Unfortunately, 8 pitches in the second inning helped him because of the number in the first and now in the third. Still trying to get on track, and for Sonny, once he does, if the pitch count doesn't get him, he'll figure it out.
A foul ball by Brantley. Day games for Sonny Gray. Look at the ERA, 0.92. Good shutout in Cleveland on a Sunday afternoon. Quick throw, and again a fairly close play. Lindor diving headfirst back.
Kendall Graveman with the pick off Sonny Gray just as quick with the footwork and the throw to first base, and he does not hold anything back when he throws over. It's more than just a courtesy throw. It's a purpose, trying to pick off the runner, trying to keep him close.
Swing and a miss. He struck him out with a fastball. Third strikeout for Gray. 2 away here in the third.
Stays with the fastball. Pitch has not really worked that well for him, but I think more and more, and again, not that long ago, it was the Indians hitters trying to figure out Sonny Gray, and he pitched a shutout. Kev, I think what happens, these hitters, because they know Sonny Gray has that great pitch, the splitter like slider, and a fastball at times will sneak up on them, and they have to try to make contact. Maybe Brantley that time was waiting for something off speed and saw the fastball.
First pitch strike to Carlos Santana, who had a base hit in the second inning. The Indians have had their leadoff man on in each of the first 3 innings. So Sonny Gray has spent a lot of time in the stretch. Shift on for Santana. Another good pitch, and it's 0-2.
Do you think Santana is looking for this pitch 3 in a row? Probably not. Probably thinking he's going to throw a fastball, and now you could bounce one. Maybe throw the hard slider, bounce it, try to get him thinking about a fastball or another breaking ball. Those are 2 great curveballs that he just got.
And he threw it again, and Santana swings and misses. So the inning ends with a couple of strikeouts for Sonny Gray. We're going to the bottom of the third. 1-0 Indians over the A's.
His routines, don't try it at home. Just trying to get the right arm loose. Then one time he would throw line to line, but there have been some pitching coaches wonder why do you do all those things, but it works for him. And he has turned out to be very good, and we're going to show something pretty soon that really is impressive because he got a chance to hit in Pittsburgh, and that is enough, we'll tell you right now, because it's pretty special what he was able to do.
And it has nothing to do with the result of the at-bat.
No, absolutely not. Although that was rather successful also, but yeah, he was funny.
Facing Sogard, Simeon, and Burns here in the bottom of the third. Bauer and the Indians with a 1-0 lead. Strike called, a little bit of a high strike. So 0-2. Tapped foul. Sogard 244 with 23 RBIs. He's 2 for 9 in the series. Choked up a little bit. And a good take there, and that big overhand curve from Bauer.
Especially over the top. You don't see it a lot, although I've talked to some scouts that say you're seeing more and more of the 12-6 curveball.
There's a base hit to right field. Sogard gets his 3rd hit in the series. And that gets us to our Ford right choice. July 3rd of this year in Pittsburgh. Here it is, folks. Trevor Bauer in his 7th inning. He imitates 3 of his Cleveland teammates that are hitters. Get this? Too bad. Ryan Rayburn.
This is great.
And then Mike Aviles.
What a great job of doing the split screen, because that was perfection. It was raining. It was about a 12-pitch at bat, it seemed, and he walked. And the teammates were all just raving about his ability to do that. And you know, that I think says a lot about pitchers in the American League who get a chance to hit in the National League. They have a little fun with it. Why not? And Trevor Bauer did it. He was perfect on those. I mean, those were
pretty good. Yeah. He had that planned, I do believe.
Phil Cuzzy, that's a good. How about that? Started to call it and then decided, no, I don't think I will. Watch Phil Cuzzy, the home plate umpire. No, I don't think so. And it was a right because it's out of the strike zone. It's not easy when you see as many pitches as home plate umpires do to try to be accurate with all the calls. And now when they have somebody monitoring every pitch they call, in the zone, out of the zone, close, not close. He's got his indicator, but checking the scoreboard to make sure the count is correct, which is 2-1.
Two and 1 the count to Simeon. Simeon with the home run last night. Liner, double play. Jerry Sands was right there.
That's a double RBI or a double play, and the latter was the case. Sands, okay, there's your case where the glove on the left hand, being a right-handed thrower, helped it. Did not have to reach back across his body, just put the glove up, made the tag. If it's a left-handed thrower, glove on the right hand, he has to reach across, maybe doesn't get it, but he's a right-handed thrower, and it was perfect double play.
So my theory just got blown out of the water right there, right?
No, not really, because as a you want to be a left-handed first baseman. I think that is the best, because
that time it helped to be
right-handed, but that is rare that happens. Usually it is going to be between first and second, and you know that's why Mike Scioscia of the Angels, every left-handed pitcher, he will have the first baseman cheat off to try to take up some of that area. So I would rather have a left-handed first baseman because it can make the tag better.
Yep.
And those are rare. That was a late swing by Simeon, a protecting swing. It just happened to be in his glove.
3-0 to Burns. It's a strike. No, it's a ball. So Phil Cuzzy's got the revolving strike zone right now. Bauer just stood there and could not believe that it was called a ball. Phil Cuzzy, he will have a revolving strike zone, folks. That's the reputation of Cuzzy. Heard that from numerous people.
Well, 3-0. There's a strike, and what? Umpires don't like that, but maybe because that strike zone that you described, maybe decide, let him get away with it.
Because he also one of the guys who put his hand on the catcher, which I still say that has to be one of the most annoying things for a catcher.
The balance, they keep the balance. And
he's got both hands. Now that to me, I don't understand that.
I agree.
That's bad.
I agree.
He's got both hands on him. And listen, he's not grabbing him or anything, but I don't understand why umpires do that. And to me, catcher, how could you not say something? He's putting both hands on him. That is, I don't get that.
Maybe you should work on the strength of the legs so you don't have to put the hands on the balance. To keep
I'm sure there's a reason why he does it, but it cannot be comfortable for a catcher.
But you know what he does do, I think, in watching him, when the catcher moves, he'll move with him. But if you're trying to move and he's got his hands on your back, it kind of limits how far you can move. That's too close.
That is way too close.
That's too close.
I agree.
I mean, this is about as close as you're ever going to see an umpire get to a catcher. And you know, if he comes up like that,
see, I mean,
he stopped it. I mean, when you're that close and as an umpire and a catcher comes up to throw, you're going to hit it.
Sure.
And that could be distracting.
It has to be distracting. Oh, 0-2 to Sanford. This one's popped up. Could be playable. Perez, he's got room. Battles the weighted bat, and he makes the catch. Side retired, so a double play hurts the A's, and we're going to the fourth. Still 1-0 Indians. SNCA data strong fan, and you just might see yourself in one of our upcoming broadcasts. It's all brought to you by T-Mobile. 1-0, the Indians leading. It's been that way since the very first inning. Top of the fourth, Sands, Urshela, Perez. Sands knocked in the only run in the game with a sacrifice fly. Strike on the outside corner. Curve, but it stays low. Sands lays off. 4 strikeouts so far for Sonny Gray. He's walked 1, and unfortunately that 1 walk scored. It was the first hitter of the game. Bounced up the middle. Sogard backhands his throw to first. Nice play by Eric Sogard.
Well, a couple of things there. Sogard, a great play, but just as important, reaching back with Sonny Gray, tried to grab it with his bare hand, and that is always dangerous, to reach back and his glove in his hand. But Sogard, a great play thrown across his body, and makes another excellent play. He can play some second. Made it look easy. Fortunately, a big man running Sands, but Sogard, and he knows exactly what he has to do, and to make that kind of an accurate throw with something on it, pretty special.
Fouled straight back.
Some guys would stop and throw, but Sogard knows he can throw it accurately, and that is as perfect as you could throw it, even if you stop to throw.
So 0-1 to Urshela, and it's 0-2 to Urshela. Urshela struck out to end the first inning. It came with runners at first and third. Sonny Gray just pumping fastballs in there. .58 pitches so far for Sonny, so it goes back to that 27 pitch first inning. That's what really got it. And Urshela waves at a breaking ball, and that is strikeout number 5.
First at bat, throw a fastball by him, and this is, I'm looking fastball, and oh, I started my swing. That's one of those that you just thinking fastball. You try to make an adjustment, but that is not adjusting. If you start,
no, it's not,
and you see something other than the fastball, you're supposed to stop your swing, not continue as he did. But learning experience for the young man.
Here's Roberto Perez, who led off the second inning with a base hit. Good curve for a strike.
I'll say this right now. These are games that you take the pitch count, as far as I'm concerned, and throw it out the window. Because Sonny Gray, it took him 27 pitches in the first inning to get going. And you can almost throw those out and subtract them too when he approaches the 100 plus, and they start thinking about taking him out. But it's the wear and tear and 22nd start. He's got a lot of starts remaining in the last couple of months.
It's that 27 pitch inning when it's in the 6th or 7th. Yeah, that's right. The one that usually gets a starter.
Or stressful, and he's really not had a stressful inning except the first when he threw all those pitches. And bases loaded, gave up a sac fly. And you hope one run's not going to be enough to lose. If the A's would score a couple at least, if not more.
So there's your breakdown.
The 8 in the second was a blessing.
Fastball is high. For Sonny Gray, all good. So 5th in the league in innings pitched, 10th in strikeouts, and of course the ERA. There's only one other guy in the American League that has a better ERA than Sonny Gray. You know who it is, Ray? Scott Kazmir.
He left here with that ERA that month, right?
It's gotten better since he's gone to Houston too. Inside, and so the 2-out walk to Roberto Perez. Some of the Cy Young candidates, certainly Keuchel has had a great year. David Price now with the Blue Jays, but
number 24, Michael Bourne.
There's just not a guy who's completely running away with it, and that's why Sonny Gray, even though the A's record is not great, he have a shot.
Guys on both ends, Price and Sonny Gray, Vanderbilt, Lums. See tomorrow if Sonny Gray, as David Price probably watching Sonny today, if Sonny will watch Price make his Toronto debut tomorrow.
Wow, yep.
I understand they already have sold out. They have a day game. Sell out already against the Twins. It's David Price, Premier 14, will make his debut.
That one hit hard but foul down the third base line. Tough hop. Handled nicely. Look for a kid. Look for a kid.
Yeah.
Find a kid.
have to talk to Scotty about that. You cannot.
Gotta find a kid.
That's right. You look around. You just don't have to take the first person you see.
Guys hold up. That's a swing, and that's a strikeout. 6 strikeouts. And Michael Bourne decides to take off. They got to throw to first. So there's a lot going on. But when it's all said and done, it is a strikeout. So nothing for the Indians, and we're headed to the bottom of the 4th. 1-0 Cleveland.
For the 2016 Oakland Athletics Fantasy Camp held from January the 15th to 21st at the A's new spring training facility, Mesa, Arizona. Get out of the stands and onto the field. Create your lasting memories with former A's greats. For more details, go to www.hendersonbaseball.com or call 509-509-993-7338. 509-993-7338. Put on that uni and embarrass yourself.
Full week.
But that'll be fun. That's always fun. Fantasy camps where grown men think this game is easy, and then they realize when it's all over, it's a little bit harder than I thought. But it's always fun for the fantasy camp. Great name because everybody dreams of being a major league player at a young age. Not a lot make it, but those who do, dream come true. I'm going to say Randy Hundley.
Started it
many, many years ago.
Most teams have it now.
Yeah, with the great Cubs teams, Ron Santo, the late Santo, and many of the greats of the Cubs, and something started by Randy Hundley. Hundley also the first to wear the break, catcher's mitt, catch one-handed. Shane didn't get that one. He was upset, jumping up and down on the concourse area there in front of his seat.
2-2 pitch is popped up down the right field line. A long run for Chisenhall, and he's going to get there, and he makes the catch in foul territory. So Reddick is out. 1 out here in the bottom of the 4th. A's trailing 1-0. Run in the first. That's been it so far.
You know why that play looks so easy for an outfielder? If you haven't played that much, when you're running, you try to keep your head still.
Yeah, it's hard to do.
The ball seems like it's moving all over the place. So you can see how the outfielder would kind of set himself as he gets to the ball instead of trying to run and catch a ball that seems to be moving.
Here's Butler. First pitch, breaking ball for strike. Good pitch by Bauer. Butler had a base hit in the second inning. One of 2 hits by the Athletics. And he slices this one to right. Chisenhall has it 2 away. Snow cones today. It's a nice day. It's not super warm, but nothing wrong with a snow cone on a Sunday afternoon.
If you're an infielder or outfielder, that's the only snow cone you want.
That's true.
Take those up. Take those up at the top of the webbing. Those are not the good type of snow cone. The lemonade to go with the snow cone.
So 2 outs for Ike Davis. Trevor Bauer has walked 1. He has struck out 2. Davis toward Lindor, who backs up to get a good hop, throws across the diamond, and that's a 3-up, 3-down inning for Trevor Bauer. On to the 5th. 1-0 Indians. Baseball highlights, lots of 49er highlights, and lots of Raider highlights from camp. So that's coming up on Sportsnet Central tonight. Kelly Johnson, Henry Wolford will host. Check in on Sportsnet Central.
If it's August, it must be
training camp.
Saw the great Tom Hamilton, longtime voice of the Cleveland Indians, in talking to you.
Yep.
Must have been football. Must have been Packers.
Breaking it down. Our good friend Tom Hamilton, one of the nice guys in our business. Ike Davis is going to come up just a little bit short. Looking up into a tough sun, and you got a long ways to run. That is never an easy play. You got the mound to worry about down there.
Is this Trevor Bauer hitting or Mike Aviles? It must be Aviles. Somebody got it. Maybe somebody distracted him, but I think the sun, no sunglasses, and approached the warning track and couldn't catch it.
One pitch. Again hit to the right side. Now a long run for Reddick, and he makes the catch. Terrific play by Reddick, showing off in front of the Indians relievers. That's what he's doing.
Well, he had to kind of run parallel to the bullpen. They were not going to help, and while slicing, the reliever stood still and sat there, and here comes Reddick, and then they started to bring in the legs, but somebody going to trip him? Nope. Bring the legs back, and that's a great play. I mean, the concentration was unbelievable by Josh Reddick, knowing he was approaching the bullpen, and he went behind the young lad, the ball boy. That's pretty good.
So the leadoff man, Chisenhall. Yeah, there's everything down there. Baseballs, wads of chewing tobacco, wads of gum, a little bit of everything.
In the lineup.
That's right. Got to have the lineup.
That's the heater. That's
that is not on today.
I don't think it's needed, but they're just in case.
2-0 to Chisenhall, who has walked and singled. He has scored the only run. Chisenhall is 5 for 12 in this series. And there's the walk. So a 1-out base runner here in the top of the 5th. Three walks.
Now batting.
2 of them
Number
being
12,
Chisenhall.
Francisco Lindor.
And Lindor hits. Lindor has struck out and reached on a fielder's choice. He's 4 for 13 now in the series. Popped up behind the A's dugout. So Sonny Gray in the stretch again. Outside, trying a breaking ball.
These are games that sometimes a pitcher has to say, I got to get back to the drawing board. Just Sonny's been very good throughout his young career of being able to invent and make corrections, and talk about Jesse Chavez doing that. Sonny Gray has had to also do it, and amazingly how he is able to make adjustments in game, come up with some great pitches.
And a good one there. 1-2.
Fastball inside corner, target set up a little bit towards the outside. Nice job of keeping the ball in the strike zone by Fegler.
Broken bat right near the bag at second. Simeon steps on second, throws to first, and a nice double play by Marcus Simeon. So second double play turn today by the Athletics, and we are going to the bottom of the 5th. Still 1-0 Cleveland. Going to be Laurie, Fegley, and Sogard. Bauer with a couple of strikeouts. And A's really have not had much going against him in the first 4 innings. A little bit high, and it's 2-0. A 2-0 breaking ball, and it snaps in their first strike.
Now watching Trevor Bauer after the inning double play turned by the A's, Bauer sprinted the mound. And normally pitchers take their time because they have a certain amount of time that they have to allot before the inning starts, but he gets out and just stands there. He waits for everybody else to come out. So I guess he's different in a lot of ways. But he's a pretty good pitcher.
There's a line drive right into the glove of Urshela, the third baseman. 1 away. That is Felix Dubron, one of the newest Athletics, acquired on Friday from the Blue Jays, and he's in the bullpen right now. It's a possibility he was going to start, but
I remember Eric O'Flaherty was DFA'd yesterday, and for Brooks, so I took one lefty out of the bullpen, and if Dubron being a lefty, that would keep 3 in the bullpen for the Athletics.
blasted left center field. Brantley near the wall makes the catch.
Sounded great.
Sure did.
Fegley has the power. A little surprising that the ball didn't travel better than it did. Yeah, fastball first at bat outside corner after fouling off a slider, 3-2. And sounded like maybe on the replay that got a little bit on the handle. Now there's Aaron Brooks, the starter last night, in the dugout eating sunflower seeds. Dubron is in the bullpen. There's Dubron. I mean, if it's every 5th day, then Brooks would be taking it easy after the start last night. Dubron would be available in the bullpen. Still see what happens. And I guess it would be the Orioles. Wednesday would be the
Wednesday day game.
Yeah, and the 5th starter, or another starter would be needed.
2-0 to Sogard, who singled leading off the 3rd. And now 3-0. Bauer has to come in, and he doesn't. It's low. A 4-pitch walk to Sogard.
4-pitch walk to Burns. His last at bat as he comes to actually Semien is up now, but we've seen pitchers who just when they lose it, they lose it. Semien, his first post All-Star break home run. The last one was in New York against the Yankees at Andrew Miller, which turned out to be a big one there. Just a run short though for the A's. Still give the young man a lot of credit for everything he's been through, working on his defense, but yet continues to play every day.
So that pitch is low, and Bauer's going to get a visit from Perez. 5 straight out of the strike zone. 71 pitches total. Second inning got him a little bit. So Bauer will finish the chat, go for a little walk behind the mound. Burns would be next if Semien can get aboard. Not close. 2-0. 6 straight out of the strike zone. And that one's high. 3-0.
Terry Francona's been around a long time. He's looking. Can you believe that?
How does that happen?
Pitching so great, using all those pitches, and then 7 consecutively. Did throw a slider in, and
back-to-back 4-pitch walks with 2 outs.
Yeah, Phil Cuzzy, home plate umpire. Actually, that pitch looked pretty close. But really, you're saying if you can't throw a strike in 7 consecutive, I'm not going to help you out by just calling something 3-0. And a pitch close enough, but was called the ball. So very quickly, A's after 2 outs and just 6 pitches by Bauer, getting Lowry and Fegley. Throws 8, not close. Last one didn't really come back like the one to Fegley, and Simeon smartly waiting until Phil Cuzzy said no strike.
So a 2-out rally and a chance to tie it for the A's here in the 5th.
Now batting center fielder, number 1, Billy Burns.
Burns, a ground out and a walk. Is 1 for 9 in the series. First pitch is fouled at the plate.
Just thinking, usually a pitcher throws 8 consecutive out of the strike zone, and the hitter is going to say, well, I'm going to make him throw a strike. Billy Burns, he's not in that mind frame. You know, I mean, it just something does not, and it's a pretty good pitch. I mean, you could look at it 1 of 2 ways. He's got to throw a strike. He did. Burns just fouled it.
And that's a strike right on the inside corner. Bauer comes back and makes a very good pitch.
It's like to see movement to the inside corner.
Interesting note there. Middle innings trouble for Bauer. That's right where he's at right now. Pitch. Burns checked his swing. He did not go.
Get an aggressive hitter, you'd be shocked at a catcher pitcher to try to get him to swing at a bad pitch. And he actually did a lot of body movement, brought the bat back.
Sogard at second, Simeon at first, and the pitch is outside, and now it's 2-2. These are making Bauer work here in the 5th. Bauer throws on 2-2. Foul back. This will be pitch number 80 coming up. The Indians have not used their bullpen a whole lot in this series. So it will be a rested bullpen when and if used. There's a liner, base hit. This should tie the game. Sogard will come in and score, and it's 1-1. So the 2-out walks hurt Bauer, and Burns comes through.
Probably a pitch out of the strike zone, but the always aggressive Billy Burns protecting That pitch perfect for him to go to the opposite field as he did. A high fastball. Again, maybe too high, but anything close for Billy Burns, he's going to be swinging. And over the head of the third baseman, Urshela. And with 2 outs and Sogi on the move, easily scoring, Mike Gallego, he had the windmill going, even though he didn't need it. But the 2 check swings, actually on pitches in the dirt taken by Billy Burns, helped him get the fastball 2-2. And surprisingly, Bauer, who had been very good with the strikes, 8 out of the strike zone. His 3 walks, 2 in this inning, and the 1 have scored.
Well, here's Fold. First pitch strike to Sam Fold, who has grounded out and fouled out. He's 0 for 2. 2 for 9 in the series. Austin Adams, right-hander, starts to throw.
The A's with 4 2-out runs last night, and this one a big 2-out RBI hit by Billy Burns.
Fold swings over top. Now 0-2. Tries to go down and in again, does Bauer. So all strikes this inning. And this is one of those high stress innings that you talked about, right? 23 pitches and struggling to find the strike zone.
6 pitches to get 2 outs to start the inning, and then all of this stress coming after those 2 outs.
That one's not close. 2-2. He's all over the place.
And not only has he thrown a lot of pitches in a stressful inning, he's probably a hit away from being out of the game. And came in with a 1-0 lead, but Terry Francona make a decision based on maybe what happens in this at bat. Again 0-2, as was the case with Billy Burns, and now 2-2.
Sam Fold had that big rip, and our boy made a nice play.
That's amazing. Well, you call it best, foul ball alley.
That is foul ball alley, and that's one of the better plays he's made this year. Be careful.
Yeah, reaching over and
hold on.
He's got his right hand. That's smart. Holding on with the right hand, reaching with the left, and it's a young man happy, taking the bows.
And that one just missed inside. Full count. Runners will take off. Simeon, Burns set to go on the pitch. And it is no swing, and it's another walk, and the bases are loaded.
Sanford got another fastball started, but that is not a swing. Billy Burns actually had more of a swing than that one was. Looks like Bauer's going to get a chance to get out of his own jam.
Your attention, please.
Terry Francona is waiting.
Batting for Josh Reddick.
Wow.
Number 20.
Something must have happened on the foul ball.
And a hitting for Reddick. So if there's a reason, we will pass it on to you. So Canna hits with the bases loaded. Manager getting an update. First pitch to Canna is low.
You know, he had to maneuver down in the bullpen, and that's the only thing I could think that would have happened. That was top of this inning. Lavila's leading off, and Josh Reddick does not come out of a lot of games or any games unless there's something wrong. Mark Canna, who has done well against right-handers, gets another chance.
Tries to hold up, and he does. 2-0.
This is Aviles down the right field line, and Reddick There, and goes behind the young man. Really, nothing really looked like at that point, unless as he was trying to maneuver, something happened to the lower body. But let's hope whatever it is okay.
So 2-0. That one went in there for a strike, 95 miles an hour. So 2-1 the count, bases loaded, 2 outs and a run in here for the Athletics.
It's not easy to prepare as a pinch hitter. You're sitting on the bench figuring that right-handed pitching not going to get a chance, and all of a sudden grab a bat.
Pitch is low. 3-1 to Cannon.
Well, maybe Bauer thinks that Reddick coming off there, Cannon coming off the bench is going to be aggressive and swing at bad pitches, but he's been very patient so far.
So Cannon waits. Bauer long hook in. He's already walked 3 in this inning. 3-1 pitch is right there for a strike, 3-2.
But if he threw that 3-1, he's going to throw it again 3-2. It's just a matter if it's going to be the same. He does not probably want to throw. Seeing the patience of Canna from the pitcher standpoint, seeing that he's not swinging at sliders out of the strike zone. And maybe he'll be forced on 3-2 to prove another fastball. This time Canna should be ready.
Simeon Burns full, set to take off on the pitch. And it's popped up, and it's going to be playable in foul territory. It's the third baseman, Urshela, who comes way down the line to make the catch. So when it's all said and done, the A's get just the 1 run. So we're going to the 6th. It's a 1-1 game.
Giveaway is driven by Chevrolet. Big Mac will be on hand as we honor his A's career. All-time A's home run leader helped the A's reach 3 straight World Series from 1988 through 1990 and win the title in '89. For tickets, call 877-493-BALL or visit athletics.com. So a 2-game series. Big Mac on the 18th. The bobblehead giveaway. Always great to see the Dodgers. The A's missed Greinke and Kershaw in the 2-game series earlier in the week. Mark Canna stays in the game in left field.
So Sonny Gray now locked in a 1-1 game, 6th inning. And first pitch strike to Michael Brantley. So, as Sonny usually does, if he has a rough inning or a rough start to the ball game, he settles in, and that has been the case today. Walked a couple in the first, gave up the run. And there's a line drive to left field, and that's a base hit. So Brantley goes the other way. So you saw Canna, who's now in left field, and Fold goes over to right. Reddick is out of the game.
Number 41, Carlos Santana.
So here's Carlos Santana. Fourth time today that the Indians have had their leadoff runner on in 6 innings. Santana singled in the first, struck out in the third. A little bit inside. Dodgers still leading the Angels 2-0. That game is now in the 6th inning. Astros beat the Diamondbacks 4-1. Colin McHugh got his 13th win. Gregerson got his 22nd save. A little bit high, and now it's 2-0.
I wonder how the Angels pitchers have done in this series, playing in the National League Park.
Well, it was Greinke on Friday, Kershaw on Saturday, so not great. Just guessing.
So the shutdowns for Sonny Gray. 40 innings the A's have scored for him. 40 opportunities he's had to get the shutdowns. 34 times successfully.
Santana bounces one foul. That game in Houston, the attendance today was 33,871. So good crowds in Houston. No surprise there. Astros have won 11 out of 15.
Hank Conger, 2 home runs last night, including a grand slam.
Hammered Hank.
The Astros all season had not hit a grand slam before Hank Conger did last night.
He's not the first guy you'd think of.
No. Between he and Jason Castro, had a 3-run home run walk-off in the series, and then Conger does it as well.
Hit hard. Davis, fair ball. He grabs it, and now Brantley's going to be in a rundown, and the A's have a chance to turn a double play, and they do.
And fortunately, Davis got out of the way. Terry Francona was second base umpire, gave a safe sign, no interference, and that's the concern that Terry Francona has right now, because Davis was going to try to catch the ball and make the tag. He ran out of the way, and Terry Francona quickly going back. Watch Davis. Nice play, tagging the bag, so it becomes a rundown. Davis is going to come in. He has to get out of the way. The runner's trying to hit him, and he avoids him. And that's why the umpire gave the safe sign, because if the runner makes contact with the fielder, it's interference. Terry Francona came out. Umpire watched him go safe, no contact. Boy, it looked like it, but that great shot down the first baseline or towards second showed him avoiding. So the third double play turned by the A's. This is a great shot. Watch Ike Davis. He knows no interference, and he got around him. And Brantley continued running. He might have made it a second.
Yeah, I think if he had to do it all over again, he would just keep running. Sam skies one toward center field, and Burns fighting that sun a little bit. 8-pitch inning for Sonny Gray. So, and a shutdown inning as well. Bottom of the 6th coming up. It's a 1-1 game.
Sands, 1 run. A's got out of the inning. Sonny did a great job. Then after Bauer, a 6-pitch, 2-out first 2 in the inning. A's 3 walks and then a base hit by Billy Burns. Sonny Gray, 3 double play ground ball outs and the strikeouts. And after the first inning, he has settled out and pitching great as he always does. Find out what's possible with AT&T. Call 1-800-PICK-ATT, mobilizing your world.
Bottom of the 6th, Billy Butler to lead things off. So we'll see how Trevor Bauer fares here in the 6th inning. It was a rocky 5th inning. He walked 3 and he got the first 2 outs of the inning, but then just let the wheels come off. He was able to get the final out, but the A's scored the tying run. Adams the righty, Roth the lefty. Indians only have 1 left-handed reliever in their bullpen. Chipzinski was traded on trade deadline day. So the word on Reddick is lower back tightness. So that is why he is out of the game. 1-2 pitch, foul tip, hung on by the catcher Perez, and that's strikeout number 3 for Bauer.
A good slider, and to Mark Cannon could not throw this slider for a strike, but to Billy Butler with a couple of strikes. Billy just a little bit maybe off the end of the bat, looking back into Perez catcher's mitt as made the catch easily. It's a well broken in catcher's mitt. It's going to catch everything.
Mike Davis steps in. Mike Davis, fly ball to left field and a ground out to short so far. Mariners beat the Twins 4-1 in 11 innings. Twins tied that game with a run in the bottom of the 9th. But then the Mariners scored 3 in the 11th, and that was the final. Cruz homered for the Mariners, his 29th of the year. Dozier homered for the Twins, his 23rd. One hopper right to Aviles. So 2 outs here in the bottom of the 6th inning. So the Twins, the current holder of the 2nd wild card spot, by not by much. So here's Laurie with 2 outs. First pitch is a strike. Rangers beat the Giants 2-1. Pitchers duel between Martin Perez and Mike Leake.
That Leake's first, that's his first start.
Yep. Pitched well but took the loss. Martin Perez, who remember his last start, he got bombed. Yeah. But he pitched extremely well today. Young left-hander coming back from Tommy John surgery. So really, if you're the Rangers, you added Hamels. You really added Perez as well. He's just come back. He's made 4 or 5 starts. Rangers still hanging around that wild card race. With their win today, they're 51 and 53.
And thanks to the A's, they've had experience in the wild card game.
And a nasty pitch there, and a good inning for Trevor Bauer. So he indeed bounces back, a 3-up, 3-down inning with a couple of strikeouts. 7th inning coming up. Indians won, A's won. Jays. And in his A's debut versus the Indians, he goes 2 for 4 with a home run. Castro Valley native, only played a couple months with the A's, and then he signed with the Pirates the next season. Ed Sprague, just a couple of months.
And just a couple of weeks ago, he was here when the Blue Jays were in town to visit his teammates. Played great for the Blue Jays in the World Championship years. That was before coming to the Athletics. His dad, Ed Sprague, former Major League pitcher and former minor league baseball team owner up in the Valley.
I think Ed Sprague, if I remember correctly, as a kid, he pitched for the Brewers for a little bit.
Yeah.
I think he did.
Ed will not like to hear you say as a kid.
Oh, come on. Come on. We got to get over that at some point here.
But that's
childhood. Ed Sprague.
Yeah,
I remember that name.
I remember him too as a child.
The Crew. Urshela, Perez, and Bourne here. 7th inning. Pitching has been the story in this series. No different today. 1-2 the count. Urshela has struck out twice, and so he has not had good swings against Sonny Gray. Sonny Gray with 6 strikeouts. He's walked 3. And that one is looped down the right field line, but foul. One and 2. Sonny kicks and delivers. And he waves at a pitch again way out of the strike zone. Urshela wants nothing to do with Sonny Gray. I think he'd like to just forget about his 3 at-bats today. And that is 7 strikeouts for Gray.
Sonny's mixing up his pitches, throwing fastballs in, sliders in the dirt. Urshela, young hitters. And I think we saw with the Dodgers, even though Mark McGwire talked about Sonny Gray and had told his hitters that they're going to see exactly what they saw, and that's the hard slider with a couple of strikes. And it is tough to be a hitter with 2 strikes knowing that you're going to see something, could be a sneaky fastball or something looks like a fastball, and end up in the dirt.
Slowly hit. Simeon has it. Throws to first. 2 outs. So that'll bring up Michael Bourne. Crazy game today in Toronto. Jays 5, Royals 2. That was your final score. But there was so much going on in that game. I don't even have enough time to tell you. There was balls sailing up around hitters' heads. There was people arguing. It was ugly. There was a couple bench clearers. Nobody really threw any punches, but to say that emotions were running high would be an understatement. Josh Donaldson right in the middle of it.
Donaldson was hitting the back in the first inning, second batter. And then both benches were warned after that initial, which is a little surprising.
But that was all part of it. After it was, the warnings were issued, there was about 4 pitches that were up and in, and I mean big time up and in, and nobody was thrown out.
Exactly. That's the surprise. Donaldson had one of his second.
Exactly. Until later in the game, then somebody finally got thrown out, but it was ugly. In fact, Edison Volquez, who was the starting pitcher for the Royals, and he and Donaldson were not seeing eye to eye. And I just saw a note where Volquez tweeted out after the game about Donaldson. He was a little baby. He was crying like a little baby. That was what Volquez tweeted out about Donaldson. So that should sit well with Josh, I'm sure.
Well, those are 2 teams that might meet each other in postseason too.
It looks like Volquez is fitting right in with the Royals pitching staff.
Yeah.
Bourne skies one. left center. Burns shading his eyes. He's got it. So another 3 up, 3 down inning for Sonny Gray. And we're 7th inning stretch time here at the Coliseum. We're locked up in a 1-1 game. To 1. These and Indians' final game of this series. These will have the Orioles in Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then the Astros Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So good homestand. Lots of baseball here at the Coliseum. Fegley to lead it off. Fegley, Sogard, Simeon. Trevor Bauer stays out there. And that was pitch number 104. And you wonder, Ray, if Terry Francona didn't heed what you had said earlier in the game about, in this case, Sonny Gray, but Bauer looked shaky in the 5th, but came back in the 6th. 3 up, 3 down with a couple of strikeouts. He's back out there. Otero and Abad throwing for the A's.
And like they did last night, the Indians have bullpen activity. But I think the Hall of Famer Nolan Ryan, and it's not surprising that Ryan goes to the Astros and they're winning. McAllister, who pitched a batter last night. But Nolan, when he went to Texas as the president, said to Mike Maddox, forget about the what is this? Oh, come on.
So Fegley strikes out, turns around, heads back to the dugout. The ball was in the dirt, but if the runner doesn't, if he turns around, heads back to the dugout, then the umpire can, if he wants, just make the out call.
Yeah, because he put up the safe sign and ball's in the dirt, and Fegley said, "Yeah, I blocked a lot of pitches in the dirt today, and I'm going to do it. At least run." I mean, that's because you see the ball's in the dirt, and even though it's up the line, it's probably going to be an easy out. The catcher could always throw the ball down the right field line.
Sogard fouls the first pitch he sees down the right field line.
But I think what Nolan Ryan said to Mike Maddox, the pitcher will tell you better than the pitch counter.
Yeah, that's true.
If he's losing or not.
The hitter will tell you too, right?
Well, the hitter definitely will tell you. But I think to your point, Bauer, after walking 3 and giving up a run to tie the game, he's retired every batter.
And if you look at his pitch counts from his starts this year, listen, he's usually up over 100, so he's not going into some new territory. He's at 109 right now. His last start, he threw 112. And another strikeout and another tag. So that's 3 consecutive strikeouts for Bauer. So all of a sudden he's got it all working again.
See him wrapping a curveball and index and middle finger close together, and then right over the top. A good block by Perez. So he's got his catcher working, and a lot of confidence. The catcher Perez showing. It's 110. I think pitchers like that.
Well, he's just rocking and firing now. Just like that, he straightened it all out. He struck out 4 out of the last 5 hitters. Want to know to Simeon. Simeon has lined out and he has walked. To the backstop. Yankees beat the White Sox today 12-3 in Chicago. So the Yankees rolling along. They now have a 6-game lead in the AL East. Mark Teixeira, another home run. He's got 29 home runs. And he's got 5 home runs in his last 4 games. So Teixeira having a terrific season. Drive right center. That's going to get down for a hit. Warren was shaded that way, so he was able to get to it and get it back in quickly.
Yeah, Terry Francona started to come out, and I think that's it. He was hoping to try to get him through 7, maybe give his club a chance to score and give him a victory, but Marcus Semien just changed that, going very well to the opposite field. This is a 2-1 fastball. Didn't try to pull it. Right center, did not get past the speedy Warren, holding him to a single.
So when it's time for change, think Speedy Oil Change and Tune-Up, your oil change tune-up and smog expert.
Costumes and enjoy the post-game show from the outfield grass. Well, space is limited. Purchase a special ticket package to receive an R2-D2 beanie. Visit athletics.com/Star Wars for more information.
Trevor Bauer cannot get a win today, but he pitched very well. 6 2/3 innings. And he will watch Zach McAllister take over. 4 walks, 6 strikeouts, and just the 1 run. So Burns steps in against McAllister. First pitch fouled at the plate. McAllister pitched in last night's game. Briefly.
So that was it.
Third of an inning, 4 pitcher. Get him out of there. Simeon is a base stealing threat. He has stolen 9 and been thrown out 4 times. It's not a terrible idea right now. Give it a shot. There's a strike inside corner, and the count 0-2 to Burns. RBI single for Burns in the 5th.
Well, McAllister a former starter. Good fastball, a little elevated, did not come back maybe as much as he wanted, and see that Phil Cousy likes the strike above the belt.
Went in there again, just missed. Burns' batting average sitting right at 300. And Burns chased it, side, retired. So the A's strike out 3 times in the inning. We're going to the 8th. 1-1. The A's and the Indians. Innings, just another very fine start for Sonny Gray. Gives up just 4 hits and the 1 run. He ends up with 7 strikeouts. And it will be a no decision for Sonny Gray. So his next start will be next weekend against the Astros. 96 pitches for Sonny Gray. So Dan Otero takes over here in the top of the 8th inning. First pitch to Mike Aviles is down and in.
I think there's a few Indians players, hitters happen to be very happy. So a total in Sonny Gray's 2 starts against Cleveland, 16 innings, 6 hits, 1 run.
Laurie has it. Quick throw to first. Aviles is out. 1 out.
Smart play by Brett Laurie. I mean, he is aggressive, but that time he just took his time. Knowing Aviles maybe not a real speed burner, and came in instead of throwing off balance, set himself, and then from underneath threw a bullet. So 1 batter, and nice job, Dan. Let's go to the bullpen.
So Abad is going to come in with some lefties coming up when it's time for change. Think Speedy Oil Change and Tune-Up. Your oil change tune-up and small enhancements.
because the Oakland franchise's most recognizable and iconic trademarks, the white cleats, are the brainchild of Charlie Finley and have been a staple for more than 4 decades. Get your tickets for this popular giveaway day now at athletics.com or by calling 877-493-BALL. Wonder if Randy Duran still has his on. Remember he wore it in Los Angeles?
Well, yeah, maybe a cycle through the wash a couple times, but he could have it on today.
Maybe he washed it and shared it with Warren Chu, who was wearing the Oakland A's jersey.
That's going to be between those two.
In the middle of 51,000 Dodgers fans.
We saw the gold spike, white spike T-shirt. So Abad to face Chisenhall. Chisenhall swings and misses. Can't catch up with that high fastball. 39 games. This is number 40 for Abad. 0-2, 3.38 ERA. The ERA has been slowly coming down. In fact, he has not allowed a run in his past 9 games, and that covers 9 1/3 innings. And all swings and misses, and it's 1-2.
Well, Abad's getting better and better as this season has progressed, mainly because that last pitch. Watch this breaking ball. Watch how sharply this is thrown. And the left-hander, swing and a miss by Chisenhall, who's hit well in the series, but no chance against the hard slider. And the velocity of the slider is the key. Throw it hard.
And he went up and in on a fastball, and he just got a piece of it. Thought it was a strikeout. Chisenhall just got a piece of it.
Wanted it down and away, and then you throw that hard. Fegley had to reach back up and in and just barely foul tipped it.
Got him with a slider. Good pitch there by Abad. Chisenhall had no chance.
That's why you throw the slider hard, because a hitter lefty on lefty is going to swing. You throw it slower, much better opportunity, but not one thrown this hard. Somebody finally got Chisenhall out.
So Lindor hits. He's 0 for 3. He did reach on a fielder's choice in the 3rd inning. And that one drops in there for a strike. On the ground, Simeon has it. Side retired. So good inning for the A's bullpen. Bottom of the 8th coming up. It'll be Fold, Canna, and Butler. We're tied at 1. For each team, those starters were very good. Those starters are gone. Not a lot of offense in this series. Good pitching. And we'll see what happens here as the A's bat in the bottom of the 8th inning against Zach McAllister. So Bauer goes 6 2/3. Sonny Gray goes 7. So Fold to lead it off. Fold is grounded out, fouled out, and walked. He walked in that 5th inning when the A's got their run, and that was the inning Trevor Bauer walked 3. First pitch, curve for a strike from McAllister, who got the final out in the 7th inning. He struck out Burns. Grounded towards second. It's scooped up by Aviles. So 1 out here in the bottom of the 8th inning.
Oh man, McAllister is just able to come in and throw fastballs. That's what he did last night with 1 batter and 2 batters in this game.
Now batting, number 20, Mark Canha.
And here's Canha. Only other game still going on is the Angels and the Dodgers. That game is now tied 2-2 in the 8th inning. Right, Shaw starts to throw. And on the other side, Mahiga. Pitch to Canha. There's your fastball. Ray coming right at him.
As a starter, you pace yourself, throw a lot of different pitches. As a reliever, you come in and just throw as hard as you can.
Sands, the first baseman, drifting, makes the catch. 2-0. And that'll bring up Butler. Good ball game tonight, Ray, in the National League. The Nationals at the Mets. That's the national televised game. And the Mets are going for the sweep at home. And if they win tonight, not only will they finish off the sweep, but they'll be tied for first place with the team they're playing. So Citi Field should be jumping tonight. They had 42,000 yesterday. And there will be another sellout tonight in New York.
And a new player in Yoenis Cespedes.
Yeah, he was in the lineup yesterday. So pennant races are in full swing, and that's a good one in the National League East. Tigers beat the Orioles 6-1. So the Orioles will be here tomorrow. And when they get here, they will be 6 games behind the Yankees in the AL East. Orioles, lots of home runs as always. Good bullpen. Orioles still have 6 games left with the Yankees. They don't want to fall too far behind. One-two pitch is hit well. Chisenhall backs up and he makes the catch. So well hit ball by Butler, but in the end it's a 3-up, 3-down inning for McAllister. 9th inning coming up. It'll be Brantley, Santana, and Sands.
full-line automaker with the longest-lasting vehicles in America, Toyota. Let's go places. And by Xfinity, home of the most live sports.
So we have reached the 9th inning of a 1-1 game. Indians come to bat with Brantley, Santana, and Sands. Abad still out there with Mahika, the right-hander, ready out in the bullpen. That one was driven right center. Fold, Burns coming together, and it's going to be Sam Fold who makes the catch at the warning track.
Sound a lot better than the result. Ball's not carrying that great today, and I think there's another example, although maybe got in just a little bit on the hands of Brantley, but leaving the bat sounded great. Pulled the hands in, and maybe that right there shows it all. And Sam Fold, I got it. Billy Burns let him have it. Long, but it just maybe the sound is good, but the location on the bat not as good. Well, the Fegley hit, of course. This one just hit by Brantley.
So with one out,
is that the 4 train? Oh no, we're not in the Bronx, are we?
Nope. That's Bart. It's good old friend Bart.
Yeah. So they wanted Santana to bat right-handed. So for Abad stays in the game, Sands the right-hander in the on-deck circle.
High pop-up foul. So 0-2 to Santana, who is 1 for 3, single back in the first inning. 3 for 14 in the series. Abad is ready. Not close. 1-2. Sitting on the outside corner, and right there, Abad hit the glove. Strike 3 call. 9 strikeouts for A's pitchers today.
Well, sometimes you can fool hitters, and that's what happened. Santana maybe thought is off the plate, so Abad does his job. It's 4 outs, and now Mahika.
So when it's time for change, think Speedy Oil Change and Tune-Up. Your oil change, tune-up, and smog experts. Tyler Wilson will be brought up from AAA by the Orioles, will face Jesse Chavez the rest of the series, as Gonzalez and Bassett on Tuesday. Wei-Yin Chen and Kendall Graveman on Wednesday. Wednesday is a day game. So our first look at the Orioles. And here's Edward Mejica. 2 outs, nobody on here in the top of the 9th. He faces Jerry Sands. Mejica making his 30th appearance. And Sands hits one up the middle. Simeon has a tip off his glove, and Sands is going to be aboard. Simeon had a range a long ways to his left. It's going to be a base hit. So hit number 5 for the Indians.
You see where the ball is hit. Simeon is going to have to try to reach and throw, and
number 39, Giovanni.
Probably thinks he should have caught it. You have to range that far. It's put your glove down, hoping the ball gets in the glove. If that would have happened, probably would have thrown him out. Sands is happy.
So Urshela hits. And that one is lined down the left field line, foul.
Urshela is very happy that it's not Sonny Gray.
0 for 3, 3 swinging strikeouts. And they were some ugly swings by this young man. He's 1 for 13 in the series.
So bounce him. See if he can swing at somebody else's sliders in the dirt.
In the bottom of the 9th, A's will send up Davis, Laurie, and Fegley. Shaw, if it's tied. Allen, if the Indians were to take the lead.
And Vogt, the lefty, on the bench.
And now 1 and 2.
I don't think Stephen Vogt is thinking he can get through this day without playing. Trying to get to the bottom of the 9th, tie game.
Hugging the line at third. Shella got a pitch to hit there, and he fouled it back. Maybe not where Mejica wanted it. Canna way off the line in left field. Is ready. And the pitch is hit toward Laurie. Knocks it down. Chases after it. His throw to first. Got it. So heck of a play by Laurie. He stayed with it. Threw out Urshela on a close play. Bottom of the 9th coming up. A's try to walk it off. So bottom of the ninth here at the Coliseum. It's a 1-1 game.
Now Brett Lawrie tried to get it on the short hop, missed it, but then continued, recovered, made a strong throw. Ike Davis stretched and got the final out of the inning. And the good news here, Brett Lawrie did not throw the ball down the line, because unless somebody's backing up, I would have scored a run. So great play, great recovery by Brett Lawrie. He's pumped, and he will be batting second in this inning, trying to get a walk-off win for the A's.
So Davis will lead it off against the new pitcher Brian Shaw. Shaw pitched in last night's game, gave up a run late. So when it's time for change, think Speedy Oil Change and Tune-Up. Your oil change, tune-up, and smog experts. Overall, a good season. 1-1, 1.98 ERA for Shaw. There's a strike to Ike Davis to even up the count at 1-1. Davis has hit a fly ball to left. He has grounded to short, and he has grounded to second. Rolls over on that one, right between the legs of Ty Waller. So 1-2, Lawrie to follow, and then Fegley here in the bottom of the ninth. He's got their only run in the fifth inning. Indians got their only run way back in the first. Outside to even the count at 2-2. Zach McAllister goes an inning and a third. No hits, no runs with a strikeout. So he, like Abad, doing a good job to keep the game tied.
First two games, actually all four games, pitchers have done a great job. A lot of hitting from anybody.
Davis chased a high fastball. One away, ninth inning. That's 8 strikeouts for Indians pitchers today.
Maybe out of the strike zone, outside. Backdoor cut fastball. And again, staying away. Davis hit a ball to the warning track his first at bat, then a couple of ground outs before the strikeout.
Stephen Vogt is getting ready. First pitch to Lawrie, taps slowly up the third base line. Shaw has it. His throw to first is wide, and Sands made a great play. Aviles was hustling over there as well to back up, but you just never know what happens if that ball goes past Sands, and he came well off the bag. But it's going to be a hit for Lawrie, and the winning run is aboard.
It's a pretty good dig by Sands at first base, because he did come off the bag, and he really kind of went like the ball was past him, trying to get Lawrie to commit to go to second. If Brett had turned, taken one step, he could have tagged him, but he stopped, stayed there, did not see the ball go past him, realizing that Sands still had it in his glove. And good effort by Shaw, better by Sands. And Brett Lawrie on the slider, really busted it down the line, and able to beat out in an infield hit. Fegley was out. If Lawrie had made out, Fegley probably would have hit, but now with the runner at first, if Stephen Vogt can bring him home. He's already received the Heart and Hustle Award. Just put a stamp on it with a game winner.
So Vogt facing Shaw. Vogt as a pinch hitter this year is 1 for 6. And he's in a big time slump. Good time to break out. He's 4 for his last 26. First pitch is outside. I take that back. He's 0 for his last 25. I was looking in the wrong area. So this would be a good time. To Vogt. Sogard to follow. Rockies with 5 hits in the game. Both teams with 5 hits. Vogt fouls it back.
Out against the Twins after Billy Burns hit double, stolen third, and then opposite field, just like his walk-off for the division series. This is the first walk-off regular season for Stephen Vogt. He liked it then, like to do it again now. Although if Brett Laurie would happen to steal, they probably would walk Stephen Vogt and leave it up to Sogard, but he loved that and would take it again. Well, they just take a hit.
Yep.
7 to the 0 for.
With the lead, 1 away. Laurie runs and the ball's hit hard to Sands, who makes a nice backhanded play. Steps on the bag and Vogt is retired, but the winning run is at second base. Now a hit could win it. But a nice play by Sands.
Well, he's going to make the play regardless because he's holding the runner, so Laurie takes off. And there is the nice play. Sands has done a very good job at first. But the fact that Laurie was running maybe kept the A's out of a double play. He was looking back trying to find the baseball. Laurie was on the hit and run. So it's either up to Eric Sogard. They could walk him, pitch to Semien, the right-hander. They got to walk Semien or Sogard, I would think. We'll see. If he hits, he's going to get the game winner. They're going to pitch to him, so I think this is Sogard's time to shine.
First pitch is a strike. Sogard today singled in the 3rd, walked and scored in the 5th, struck out in the 7th. Fairly straight away defensively, but shifting around a little bit and shallow. Outfield in a couple steps. And Laurie, terrific speed at second. Really being held on, and that one is a ball. 2-1 to Sogard.
And it could have been throwing breaking balls and pitching carefully. We'll see. Trying to make a mistake with a breaking ball. First pitch fastball was a strike, but then the 2 breaking balls in the dirt. 2 outs. Laurie can break on contact. With the outfield playing shot.
Missed about a little outside, but a close pitch. And now it's 3-1, and pitcher's probably going to nibble a little bit with first base open.
Always tough to hit, not knowing if they're going to challenge you, pitch to you, or try to get you swinging a breaking ball.
One pitch, here it is, and it's on the inside corner for a strike. Sogard thought it was ball 4. It had that cut to it.
Exactly.
And if it cut off the plate, may have, like it was a little inside.
Just a bit.
So 3-2, 2 outs. A's trying to win it in the 9th. And it's hit up the middle. Aviles, quick throw, and we're going to extra innings. So the A's get the winning run into scoring position, cannot get him home. 10th inning coming up. 1-1 ball game.
the #1 live app for live baseball. The app for live baseball. Advent is up to the moment, at any moment, with in-game highlights, live look-ins, replay reviews, radio broadcasts, and more. Get MLB.com Advent for your smartphone or your tablet.
Extra innings from the Coliseum. We're all tied at 1. 1-5-0 for each team. New pitcher for the A's is Fernando Rodriguez. Rodriguez pitched in Game 2 of this series. It was the game the Indians won 2-1. Rodriguez pitched a third of an inning. He threw only 2 pitches, so he's fresh. He'll face Perez, Bourne, Aviles, the bottom 3 in the order. Extra innings this year. The A's are 3-6, 2-4 here at home in extras.
Well, other than the game last night, which the A's scored 5. Scored 1 in the first game, 1 in the second game, 1 so far today. Today, a few more hits. 5. Through 9. I don't know if we should credit the pitchers. They're just not able to come up with the hits.
Nice strike called. 0-2. Perez has singled, walked, and grounded out. Stephen Vogt back there. And on 3 pitches, gone is Perez. Rodriguez with the strikeout.
It's challenged him, and that's a good challenge fastball. And outside corner, and Stephen Vogt actually set off the plate with a 2-seamer, bringing it back to the corner, and good enough that Perez had to swing.
So Vogt back there after pinch hitting for Fegley. Curve to Bourne stays high. Michael Bourne has hit into a double play. He has struck out, and he has hit a fly ball to center field. There's a fastball, just missed. Bourne is 3 for 12 in the series. And another close pitch. I'm not sure where those are missing. This looks like a pretty good pitch.
Well, Vogt, see if he moves. No. And he's 2-0. He's not going to set so far off the plate. Evidently just off the plate. Maybe made up for the cutter that was called against Sogard. Should have been ball 4.
So 3-0 to Bourne. And that one in there, first strike.
I saw what Bourne did a couple of nights ago with the fastball against Mujica. Drove it with the bell-time fastball. You try to pitch him down in the zone, as Rodriguez did with the second and third pitch.
And he missed outside, so a speedy runner is aboard. Bourne, a very good base stealer, maybe not the premier stealer he was 4 or 5 years ago, but still a guy who can do some damage.
This was it with a runner at second, and the belt high fastball from Mujica, and ground rule double, but because the runner had reached second, he's able to score, and that is a difference in the game. So now with a walk, you have to worry about the possibility of an attempt to steal.
Aviles is 0 for 3. And Aviles in a major slump. He is 0 for his last 27. So his batting average down to 217. On deck is Chisenhall. Bourne does not have a real big lead. Not running. Ball's foul back. This year, Bourne has 11 steals. He's been thrown out 5 times.
If you're struggling to try to justify a 4-year contract, I would think if you have the green light, you're going to be running. Got to push the envelope a little bit, and it's not like you have to play conservative baseball. But it's a good job of handling the bat, and maybe with the hole on the right side open, I want to see if he can hit the hole. And there it is between first and second.
Quick throw. Well, Bourne has stolen as many as 61. But that was quite a while ago.
Numbers there about 50%, and
that one runs inside to Aviles. He checks his swing.
Best thing Rodriguez did that time is quick pitch and try to vary his delivery to the plate, and Bourne barely got set. So if he was going to run, he would have been starting from flat foot.
So 1-2. Bourne not running, and the pitch is high. 2-2. Just looking down, Michael Bourne does not have a real big lead.
No.
Doesn't mean he won't still go. Rodriguez at the long look. And that one's popped up foul.
Sometimes you wonder if the runner at first is waiting to think until he thinks the pitcher might throw a curveball. Fernando stayed with a fastball, and if he throws the curveball, it's a good pitch to run. A little bit more difficult for a catcher, and also have to be concerned about it bouncing. Fernando has a good curveball, but good fastball he has stayed with so far. He's going to stay with it again. Outside is the target. It's the location.
And Aviles reached for it again, fouls it back.
Again with an outside fastball.
And it's lined softly off to Rodriguez. And safe at second and safe at first. So Sogard tried to tag Bourne going by. He missed him. And now there's going to be a little discussion at second base. Will Little is the umpire. Did he leave the baseline? Did he affect Sogard at all? Or did he get him? Let's see.
Well, Fernando had it off his right hand. Sogard in the base path. I think he thought he must have gotten it. Jerry Davis, the first base umpire, would also be able to see it. Davis kind of hesitated to make the call at first, but obviously safe there.
This may tell us this replay right here.
Maybe it's how far he went out of the base.
Yeah, and it did not look like he tagged him.
No, he didn't tag him, but it definitely forced him to go way out of the base path. You have about 3 feet to create your own base path. And you know what happens in these cases? It's not reviewable because it's in front.
Well, they're going to at least talk about it.
Yeah. That was a nice gesture by Jerry Davis. Yeah, come on out. We're going to talk about it. He used to have a little bit of enthusiasm about it. It's got to be talking about this. Bourne going far to his right to avoid the tag.
So Chisenhall is the hitter.
Phil Cuzzy, the only one in the light blue. Jerry Davis directed the conversation to him, and he was behind the plate. Davis is the crew chief.
So they're going to explain it to Bob Melvin, but the way it looks, nothing's going to change for the Athletics, and the Indians are going to have 2 on and 1 out.
If he'd gone straight, he had run into a tag. This way, he avoided the tag by going far to his right. Yeah, that's what Sogi was saying. He knew he missed him, but trying to see if he's out of base paths. Now Fernando's going to throw because he did take the ball off his right hand. Make sure he's okay.
So the Indians with the chance here at the top of the 10th as Lonnie Chisenhall steps up. So Stephen Vogt comes out in front of home plate, goes through some signals. There's 1 out. So the Indians will have the top of their order to try to get the go-ahead run home. A's bullpen is quiet. It's been Gray, Otero, Abad, Mojica, and now Rodriguez. Chisenhall takes a fastball outside. Chisenhall has walked, singled, walked, and struck out. He has scored the only run for the Indians way back in the first inning. He led off the game with a walk and score. And he may have swung at a ball. Chased a pitch up and away. 1-1 the count. Francisco Lindor is the on-deck hitter. The Indians' closer is Cody Allen, and he is throwing in the bullpen. Allen's been down there a while, so he's definitely ready. Strike 1-2. Chisenhall swung at a pitch that was a ball and took a pitch that was called a strike.
Oh, right down the middle, and you're right, it's there. It's that fact that the inside corner.
Rodriguez ahead in the count, 1-2. Rolls it slowly. Sogard has it. He'll throw to second to get the out there. So 2 outs now, runners at the corners. And it'll be up to Lindor.
Good play by Sogard to get the runner at second base, keeping at least the force in order. It's a good play to get out of the way also by Semien.
Number 12, Francisco Lindor.
Lindor is 0 for 4. Lots of speed. Laurie even with the bag at third. Outfield shifted toward left center and shallow. And the pitch pops away from Vogt. It will allow Chisenhall to go to second, but Bourne stays at third.
And that's a huge block. That is a big, big block. And there's the curveball. And that's probably the reason with Bourne at second. Well, he stayed with the fastball, and eventually Aviles hit the ball off Fernando, but he kept it close enough. The runner at third could not score, so while the runner gets to second, the big one was keeping Bourne at third.
Lindor, lots of speed. That comes into play. Lays off a high fastball, 2-0.
The youngster at Lindor, you have the veteran in Brantley in the on-deck circle, and granted first base is open. Abad, the lefty's been used. Remember, the A's had showed at least Dubront in the bullpen and Pomeranz. Pomeranz pitched the last 2 nights.
Swing and a miss. Chased a high fastball at 94 miles an hour.
He will be aggressive, and he was on that 2-0 fastball, and he didn't want to just get a single. That's one. That was that was wanted to hit it as far as he could, and not really the type of swing you want to see from a youngster.
And now the count 2-2.
And just like Chisenhall, he swings at a pitch out of the strike zone and pitch down the middle, slows the swing down a little bit. You'd have to think after the curveball bounced, if you're a hitter, you got to be thinking fastball. Although you can also think first base is open. Take the chance, drop a hammer, but see if he stays and if he goes with the elevated fastball.
He did go upstairs, and Lindor laid off. So now you got a full count. On deck is Michael Brantley.
He threw a curve and surprised the world. I mean, I don't know that Lindor could even think about looking for it.
Swing and a miss. He struck him out, and Rodriguez gets out of the jam. So 2 runners stranded. Bottom of the 10th coming up. It's a 1-1 game.
With the first inning, 27 pitches, but settled down after that and gave up 1 earned run, and that was it. That was at the first inning on a sac fly by Sands, but good slider, got the strikeouts, 7, even though he walked 4. Sonny Gray, 96 pitches, and not in line, but just 1 earned run in 7 innings for Sonny.
So bottom of the 10th, the A's are going to face the Indians' closer, Cody Allen.
How about that?
Cody Allen pitched on Friday night. So you don't see this a lot. Occasionally. I don't think it's a ridiculous thing.
Nope.
I mean, I always thought if it's a 1-1 game, and granted, of course you want your closer if your team takes the lead. We get all that, but if somehow the game ends and you lose and you haven't used your best reliever in extra innings.
Hey, I agree 100%. And you saw Bob Melvin do it in Seattle when Clifford came in to pitch with the 12th inning, and there was a reason. And the same, Allen, hypothetically, if he could get the A's out and they scored next inning, he could pitch the bottom of the next inning.
If he has a quick inning here. Foul territory. Sands a long run. He's not going to get to it. Cody Allen, he's got terrific stuff. Fastball, uses it a lot.
He just dropped a curveball, which he throws the other 37%. So 1% changeup. So fastball, curveball. I think you can look for one or the other, but he's got a good curveball, which he just showed.
And he got the save on Friday night. Simeon has lined into a double play. He has walked and he has singled. So 1 for 2.
Game in Seattle referencing was middle part of the batting order. Bob Melvin said that was the best pitcher to get that part of the batting order out. And had the A's scored, Clifford would have pitched the bottom half of the inning as well, or the next inning.
Fouls back and a good swing by Simeon.
You're probably a proponent also of a closer coming in the 7th inning in a tight game with the bases loaded and get out of the jam. And
if it's the World Series, yes.
I agree. I agree. And you know, this one inning or the closer only when the game's you're ahead or at home. There's a good breaking ball, the 37% of that. But I mean, back in the mid-late 80s, Tony La Russa changed the closer role. There's a hard curveball.
I saw something happen last night, and it has to do with the situation we're talking about. It was in the Rangers-Giants game. Cole Hamels was pitching great. Gets the first 2 outs in the 8th inning. He's got a 7-4 lead. Gives up a hit, and they take him out, but they don't bring in the closer. They bring in Tanner Shepard, who went on the disabled list today.
Wow.
4 batters later, it's a tie game.
Yeah. No,
That's pretty good to get out of the way of that.
Yeah, that was maybe considering the location of where it was going, the shins, you want to get out of the way of it. Not necessarily take one for the team, but it was right at his right knee, shin, and it missed him. Skipped out of the way.
So 1-0 to Burns.
No, I agree.
Do you understand what I'm saying? I mean, if you're close, the game is right there.
Yeah.
Closer can't get 4 outs. Unless you have a terrific 8th inning guy, which, you know, the Rangers bullpen has been a struggle all year. It's just an example of what we're talking about. So 2-1 the count to Burns.
Well, it's called establishing roles, but if you don't have a bullpen that you're locked down, I mean, the Royals, it's automatic, and their clubs are trying to really emulate what the Royals have done with their bullpens, but not every bullpen is like that.
Burns pops it up. Lindor glasses on, and that's the second out. So Sam Fuld will hit.
Now batting right fielder, number 23.
Sam Fuld is 0 for 3. He did reach in the 5th with a walk. Nobody in the A's bullpen. So Rodriguez, if the A's don't win it here in the bottom of the 10th, would go pitch the 11th. And I think, and staying with what we're talking about, Ray, this is where you look at Cody Allen's, how many pitches is he going to throw in this inning? If he throws 12 or 13, well, then you could send him back out.
I think, depending what happens with the top of the inning, the Indians might have somebody up, but he's at 10 pitches now, and this could be, well, have to pitch more on the stretch.
So Fuld gets his first hit, and he's a speedy base runner and a good base stealer. And Canna will hit.
Well, it's not a walk-off, but it's a good way to start. Fastball up and back up the middle. Cody Allen falling off towards the first base side. Almost fell into catching the ball, but got past it because of how hard it was hit. Right under his glove, and it was smoke.
So Canna steps in, and this is his 3rd at bat. He came in for Josh Reddick. Reddick left the game with a little stiffness in his back. Sam Fuld with 7 steals. He's 7 for 9.
A lot of stealing bases is based on the time in which a pitcher releases the ball and a catcher can throw, but there's also times that to try to get back-to-back hits. Outfield playing no doubles now. If the runner gets to second, they play normal position, but really essentially means you're going to have to get 2 hits now with 2 outs to score the run from first base, unless you go deep off the wall or deep in general.
And closers generally are not great at holding runners. It's just not something that they want to deal with the game on the line.
Closers say they're not supposed to have base runners.
Right.
So why worry about them? be that 1% changeup according to Wiggles. His Wiggles a curveball. They don't even have to sign for a changeup evidently, because Perez wiggled the fingers, and the fastball is 1, curveball is 2, Wiggle is changeup. It's a good block by Perez. He's had a good day blocking balls in the dirt. Same pitch according to the sign.
And that one rolling around in fold. Thought about going. Perez for a moment there could not find it. Canna did the right thing, just stood there. Make it difficult on the catcher.
That's right. You do not have to move. It's your batter's box. You can do that, and as long as you don't kick it. Sam, secondary started, stopped. I mean, you have to go the first time of the secondary lead. You can't stop and then try to start again.
So 3-1, Canna in a good spot. Outfield very deep.
All of a sudden, Allen, 16th pitch coming up after Sam Fold, and then curveballs in the dirt. Perez also, I got him blocking 9 in the dirt today, so he's done a great job for the Indians and his pitching staff.
Fold just dancing around a little bit at first.
Well, it's the Mike Gallego windmill windup, and what a time to finish it. You're right. And if ball's towards the gap, even though the outfielder's playing no doubles, get on your horse, Sam.
Left center, hit pretty well. Brantley's back, and it is off the wall. He plays it off the wall. Here comes Fold. Throw to the plate is wide. A's win it. Canna and the A's walk off against the Tribe.
Maybe we should interview Gallego. What a great shot. They went breaking ball, and finally on the 3-1, the fastball, and Mark Canna got it. Well, he came back with a fastball, rated bad by Mark Canna because Codiana kept going to the curveball, but Canna would not offer. And then the fastball off the wall came back pretty well to the left fielder, but the throw way offline by Lindor. Sanford on the move, 2 outs, and Sanford able to score from first base. And appropriately, there's your giveaway today, and there's Mike Gallego. It looks better in real life than that. What did you call it?
It's a wind-up toy.
Wind-up toy.
He swung like he was looking for a fastball, and he got one out over the plate.
You know, if you're going to throw that many curveballs, why are you going to challenge him with a 3-1 fastball? But give it up to Mark Canna to be able to get the fastball, drive it. Wasn't a walk-off home run, but a walk-off hit. And I don't remember him having many, if any. Maybe that's his first. They would know. We'll find out.
So Mark Canna wins it for the Athletics in fine fashion. And
yeah, I just told us it's his first.
It is his first. All right. Glad we know that. So Mark Canna is going to join us in just a moment. But the A's needed a win like this. They dropped the first 2 games of the series, but they bounced back. Good ball game last night and a walk-off today.
You know, especially for Mark Canna, who did not start the game. Josh Reddick had to leave because of the lower back. So Mark Canna comes in and really had a good at-bat. The time with getting to the 3-2 count with the bases loaded for popping up. So great job by Mark Canha again today.
All right, Mark Canha is standing by downstairs. Mark, congratulations, your first career walk-off hit. We get used to that here in Oakland the last couple years, but congratulations, and tell us about that final at-bat against Cody Allen, a very hard thrower, but he also mixed in some breaking balls to you.
Yeah, I mean, I was kind of late on the other fastball, so I was just trying to shorten up and get a barrel on it. And I don't know, I'm speechless. I blacked out.
Well, you're going to be even more speechless very soon, but we'll try to talk to you quickly while you catch your breath. But the fact that you came in a game when you did, how long or how much time did you have from your staff to know that you're going to come in to replace Josh Reddick?
I think I had like about 30 seconds of notice, and I was in the game. So it was about as shocking as that right there.
But you've been here. You've seen what happens when you get walk-off hits. You know that this is coming, I would hope, right? Or did you just not expect it since it's your first?
I don't know. I try to go up there. I've been struggling lately. I've been trying to go up there with a positive mindset, just drive the ball in the gap every time, regardless of what happened previously in the game or last week or whatever. So, that's the best way to go about it, I think. That's all I was trying to do.
Hey, Mark, your first year in the big leagues, and you've come a long way. Tell us the thing that you've learned the most, being in the big leagues, working hard every day, but also not necessarily playing every day, which can be difficult for a young player.
Yeah, it's tough. You got to just it's the role I'm still getting used to. Just stay ready. That's the thing, and come to the field each day and do your preparation, and trust the process, and that's what I'm trying to do.
The impressive thing, everybody said right-handed hitter, you can handle left-handers. You've hit all your home runs against right-handers. You come up with your first walk-off against a right-hander, a very good right-handed hitter. Talk about your approach against the righties versus the lefties. How much better do you feel against righties than maybe some of the lefties you faced?
I don't really feel a difference. I think it's just some weird thing that I can't really explain. It's not a comfort thing. Obviously I'm just trying to have good at bats, and whether it's a right-hander or a left-hander, I don't feel any difference.
Well, Mark, congratulations on your first career walk-off hit. And sorry about the shock with the Gatorade, but it's all good. So thanks for stopping by.
Thanks, guys.
All right, so Mark Canha, indeed the first walk-off hit. And Ray, we've talked a lot about Mark Canha as the year has gone on. He has not played on a regular basis, but the one thing that I notice and you notice is he has not looked overmatched at the plate, which sometimes a young player, big leagues for the first time, can at times look overmatched. But he really hasn't this year. He seems to handle each at-bat pretty well, and that bodes well for the future. I think he has a chance to be a pretty good hitter.
Well, remember, he's a Rule 5, which means he has to stay on the roster at least till September the 1st, which means at that time the 40-man roster comes into play. So he's going to be, and the fact that he has played an important role in this ball club, and while he downplays the fact that lefties versus righties, he has really dominated the right-handed pitchers. And again, today, taking the curveballs from Cody Allen to get to the point where 3-1 hit, he got the fastball, then he turned on it. So I think it's a credit to him to be able to handle some of the right-handers that he has, especially with the breaking balls moving away. Left-handers tendency the ball might come in or sinkers away, but he's done a great job, and I think he's going to get a lot more playing time, whether it's this year or the future. But I think it's a great find by the Athletics.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if he indeed does get some more playing time in the final 2 months of the season. But Mark Canha is the hero this afternoon. He doubles home Sam Fold in the bottom of the 10th inning, and we walk off at the Coliseum with the final score on Mike Gallego Action Figure Day. He's winning 2-1 over the Indians in 10 innings. You've been watching Oakland A's baseball on CSN California. It's part of the NBC Sports Group. But don't go away. A's Postgame Live with Brody Brazil and Carney Lansford starts right now.